This spring, we replaced a fabric top gazebo that we had in this space in our pool area. Our pool area is in 100% sun all the time, and you need a lot of places sort of to get out of it every once in a while. So we have a structure down the other end, and this is more, was always more of a temporary thing for when we had parties and stuff, but the one we had sort of outlived its usefulness and was kind of falling apart, so we replaced it with this. And this is from Purple Leaf. I'll link it below. And we are going to replace the furniture in here, just not yet, but I want to make it feel a little bit more homey in here. Let me just first of all scan up, if you don't mind, to these lights. Aren't they cool? They're actually battery operated. I've got them on Amazon. I will also link them below. But to make it a little bit more homey, I wanted to put some plants in here. So they need to be shade or semi-shade plants, and they need to be in pretty big pots. So I started with ordering one, and it arrived. I want to put one there and one there. And we're going to unbox one that came today. Intro to how I found out about this plant. I do watch lots of YouTube videos on all my hobbies: knitting, gardening, true crime. And I was watching HortTube with Jim, I think his last name is Putnam, and he was doing a highlight of this plant in his garden. So he's south of us and in a zone 7A garden. So plants he grows, oftentimes we can't grow. But this is a plant that when I researched it after he showed it, and I became just obsessed with having it, that it's a Southern Living at Home collection of plants, and it can be grown as a houseplant. So it can be outside all summer long and then go in when there's going to be frost and live in my office and be very happy. That's where all my plants go over the wintertime. And so I ordered it, and I actually ordered it from Walmart. And surprisingly, this plant, and you can see how tall this box is, and I've had a sneak peek of the plant, was something like $40, so not expensive at all. And Bill opened up the box in the back so that I can quickly take it out, and I don't have to futz around with a box cutter on film. And I'm going to take it out and show it to you. And let me tell you how well this was packed. This could not have been packed any better or delivered any better. And this is the plant right here. And it's called fatshederas angiostar. And this plant is actually a cross between Fatsia japonica, which we cannot grow here in New England because it's just too darn cold, and a plant that absolutely everybody can grow, which is English ivy, which can be very invasive and is out to take over the world. And it has some nice qualities. It's actually beautiful leaves, but its thugness in the garden thuggery is not appreciated. So this plant has combination from both parents. It has obviously the beautiful ivy shape to the leaf, and these things are so thick and wonderful. I can't even describe to you how good it feels. Like, just, they almost look fake. It almost looks like a plant that you see in an office that's not real, but it is real. And it doesn't have one of the bad characteristics of ivy, which is the little rootlets that come out from the stem that they secrete like an adhesive compound that will latch it onto fences or walls, and the little rootlets make a mess on structures that you try and put them next to. So it can't climb. It actually will need, I'm going to turn it around. It came on this little trellis structure. It's going to need that the whole entire time it's growing. So whether it's this structure or if I replace this with something else down the line, which I haven't decided yet, it's going to need that because it doesn't climb on its own. So it does have less of a hardiness rating than its parent, English ivy heterohelix, but it's probably 7. I would guess 7 is probably the lowest zone I would grow this plant in outside. But I'm going to, like I said, grow it outside in the summer and then inside in the winter. So I'm going to read you the plant tag. And it says this is a hybrid between Fatsia japonica and English ivy. Angiostar has the best of both parents. Giant ivy leaves add light to shady spots, but will not root into stucco or spread where they're not wanted. Stems need to be staked or supported, can be grown indoors. And it does have its hardiness sewn on here. You can grow it in 7B to 9. And it says it has a moderate to fast growth rate, medium water, and prune it in the spring. So this is the plant label from Southern Living Plant Collection. So I'm ecstatic. I think this is going to look so nice in one of the corners of this new gazebo. You call it gazebo, pavilion? What do you call it, Bill? Pavilion. So instead of going shopping and agonizing over what container to put it in, I went with a container I'm very familiar with. These are containers that we use here in the pool area all the time. They're from a company called Maine, M-A-Y-N-E, and they're self-watering. So they have, I'm going to try and get this out of here, gracefully. So first of all, you'll notice how large it is, and that's because this plant is going to live in it for its whole life. So I want to make sure it has plenty of room. These containers, we've had them for years. They've held up well. Their color has held up very, very well in our bright, bright sunshine. We haven't had to deal with fading or cracking. They stay out all winter long. This is the 20-inch Fairfield, and it has a water reservoir in the bottom. So when the plant gets big enough and starts to send its roots down, there's always water in the bottom of the pot for it to access if you don't get around to watering it. So I'm over the moon to make this combination, to put this plant in this pot and put it in this corner. And that's just going to be the start of plants that I'm going to find to put in here to make it feel homey during the summer when we're out here. So as soon as I'm done potting it up, we'll come back and have a revisit and look at what it looks like in here. So these containers, you can fill them in a couple different ways. You can actually drill a hole and they give you a plug, and then you'll be able to water right from the side of the container because it's hollow and the water will go down. And that's what the other ones that we have on the other side of the pool, we actually did that, and that's how I water. But the other thing you can do is just fill up this water reservoir in the bottom, and there's holes in it. And when it's full, it will start to come out a hole in the side, and then you'll know that it's got enough water in the base. And I'm going to do that option because this is going to be moved in and out of the house, and I want to make sure we can get all the water out, so I don't want too much water in this one. The other ones are pretty full all the time. So I finished filling it, and in the bottom there's quite a bit of water. It took a little bit of time, and that's actually works out really great because the water will act as an additional weight to help this planter be stable and not have the plant blow over in the wind. So especially if you're planting something that's on the taller side and you're in a windy area, which we are, you want to make sure that your planter is not going to end up all spilled all over the ground. So the water is going to help with that. The directions on these planters mention adding like a lightweight filler into the bottom. This plant is actually pretty large, and it doesn't need too much filler in the bottom because of the actual size of the plant. So I'm just going to put a little bit in there, and I'm not going to use what I usually use because I think this planter is going to need all the soil that I put in it. I don't think it's going to have room for plastic peanuts or any of that kind of stuff in the bottom. So I'm going to use, at the very bottom where the water reservoir is, I'm going to use this hay. And we actually have bales of this stuff that we keep on hand for the wintertime when our dogs are running outside and it gets really muddy. We just put this down over the grass so that they don't bring all that mud into the house and they don't get all covered in mud. So we have these hay bales, and so that's what I'm going to use in the bottom. So I'm just going to take some of it out, and it's probably going to make a mess, and we'll have to clean it up after. And I'm just going to put a little bit into the bottom, and that's going to help a little bit with how much potting soil I have to put in there. But it's again, maybe 2 inches tops. So now this is what I store my potting soil in up on the deck. So now I'm just going to add like a layer of potting soil over the hay layer that I just put in there. And that's going to be the base of where the plant is going to sit. And I'm pretty sure that's going to bring the plant right up to where I want it to be. So I'm going to finish doing that, and I'm going to put the plant in. And before I backfill it all back in, I am going to add some biotone starter, because I always add this to my plants that I put out in the yard. And this plant's going to be living in a pretty confined environment, so I think it's going to be helped. I would have put this in the ground if I was putting the plant in the ground, so it's going to get it here in the container. All right, so we'll be back in a second when it's all done. All right, so I think that's a good height. Bill, you think that's a good height? Yeah, I think so too. All right, so I'm going to put it in there now. I'm going to add a little biotone right around the roots here. It's a little windy. And then I'm going to come back and finish filling it. All right, this is going to take a few minutes, so. Okay, so we finished up, and what's on top after we finished putting in the potting soil and the biotone is some wood chippings that we make here using our garden waste. We run through the chipper and we make wood chippings, and that's going to help conserve moisture on the top of the potting soil. So this is all done, and it was intended to be a solo, and we were going to do something different on the other side, but we both ended up loving this so much, the way it already is bringing so much life to this corner, that we're going to start with 2 of these, and we're going to order another fatshedera and put it on that side, and then we'll go from there. Well, our little tiny mini makeover of this space is done. I had this hosta I had potted up already out in the side yard. I just moved it here. So I like it against the pot and against the variegation of the angiostar fatshedera. The second one arrived. We potted up in the same container, and I filled another pot with a different hosta that just needs to fill out. And so right behind here, you see there's the angiostar that just came today. You can see there's a variegated ivory halo dogwood right behind there. So it kind of carries that sort of same variegation right across the back. And I think it looks pretty. So we just rescued these pillows from another area we have out here. I bought new pillows for that area instead of buying new pillows for this area. I just put those over here. And all in all, I think it looks quite a bit more inviting than it did before. I didn't put my lights on because it's sunny, but boy, I just love them. Oh, look, Bill just arrived with yet another plant. Let's go see what we got.